Hello and welcome back to my channel What If Deku 2.0. Join us as we delve into the realms of fanfiction and fantasy, bringing you the best stories and discussions. Today, we're kicking off part 1 of our series, What If Deku Mastered 3 Swords Style Like Zoro? If you enjoy this video, please give it a like and subscribe for more content in the future. The author of this story is GhostKnightTwilight from Archive of Our Own. All the relevant links are in the description. Feel free to say hello to the author on their profile. Now, let's dive into the fanfic. Dagobah Beach. After All Might told Izuku to meet him here for training, he then makes sure to wear an undershirt, hoodie, track pants, his red shoes, and brings his kendo sword. It was about 7 in the morning when he arrived at the beach. "Hello, young Midoriya, are you ready to train today?" Izuku then turned around to see All Might in his skinny form waving at him. All Might was wearing some casual clothes and had just got out of a pickup truck. "Hello, All Might, and what do you mean by train, Izuku?" "Well, you see, in order for you to receive my quirk, you need to have a strong enough body so you can handle my quirk's power. Also, my real name is Toshinori Yagi. So while I am in this form, please call me Yagi." Yagi. Yagi then points to the trash-filled beach. You see, this beach was once beautiful, but because of sea currents and people illegally dumping here, the beach is now just a huge garbage pit. In order to train you, I will have you clean the entire coastline. By doing this, you should be able to pass the UA entrance exam that takes place in 10 months. You do want to go to UA, right, Yagi? Izuku nodded while his eyes widened at the news of cleaning the beach. By cleaning this beach, you will also be helping the community. Back in the day, being a hero was helping your fellow man and community by doing tasks like this. Yagi. Okay, so by doing this, I am killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Izuku. Yes, indeed, young man. Now, if you don't mind, can you take your shirt off real quick? I need to see what I'm working with here, so I know how much to train you. Yagi. Izuku agrees and then takes off the top part of his clothes, and Yagi is surprised. Man, I thought that this kid was strong, but his clothes really hid his body. He might be able to clean this beach in about 7 to 8 months. Yagi. Alright, you can put your clothes back on, and before we start I want you to have this. Yagi then pulls out a stack of papers. Izuku grabs them and reads the title. Aim to pass American Dream Plan? Izuku looks up at Yagi, who is smiling. Yep, this will be your training schedule. I made it to help make sure you are ready for my quirk before the UA entrance exam. Almost every part of your day-to-day life is written here, so you can follow what to do at what time to help train your body. You will still have days off to relax and help make sure you do not overexert yourself. But keep in mind that this still won't be easy. Do you think you can handle it, Yagi? Izuku smiles and nods his head. I have trained for most of my life to help me accomplish my dream. There is no way I would back down now. Izuku then holds his right fist close to his heart and grins. That is what I like to hear, fanboy. Whenever you have trash to throw away, just put it in the back of the pickup truck. Yagi points at the truck he had arrived in. Today was the day when Izuku would start his training to be able to wield One for All. 2 weeks later, Yagi Pav. As I get to the beach this morning, I see that young Midoriya is already there. He has already started to make some pathways through the garbage. I smile and walk to him, trying to lift a refrigerator. Hey, how is it going down there? I ask as I change forms and jump on top of the fridge. Midoriya looks up at me while catching his breath. Well, it just got all a lot harder with the now added 560 pounds. Haha, I actually lost weight. I'm down to 540 these days, in this form at least. Midoriya signs and very slowly pulls the fridge with me on it. I actually came up here to ask you a few questions, if that is okay, young Midoriya. I then hop off my seat and transform back to my other form. Sure thing, I mean Yagi. Izuku is now able to pick up the pace with the extra weight now gone. No Pav. Alright then, first question. I noticed that you use swordplay for fighting. What's the reason why you choose that, Yagi? Well, a long time ago I saw this one video of a swordsman fighting off some villains with only a sword. While he did have a quirk, he only needed a sword. That gave me hope that while I can't train to get a quirk, I can train to fight with a sword and become a hero. I even trained so that if I use swords I won't accidentally kill someone with my swords. Izuku then scratches the back of his head. Though now it feels weird to say now that I am training to get a quirk. Izuku: I like your sense of humor, young Midoriya, and I'm happy to hear that you have trained to not cause any more damage than you should. My next question is, what are your goals? I know you said you want to be the next #1 hero, but it is good to have other goals so you get the most out of life. Yagi: Well, I want to master being a blacksmith, become a bit of a musician, and I want to be the world's greatest swordsman. I always wanted to be the greatest as soon as I saw swordplay. It was always amazing to see masters move with grace, but attack like a predator. Izuku: Haha, those are some fine goals. I never did have many other hobbies besides watching movies. So it is good to enjoy the things you like, so there is more to you than what meets the eye. Yagi: Yagi then gets both serious and confused. Next, even though I am happy you chose to be my successor, why did you? I would have understood if you wanted to try and be a quirkless hero. Yagi: Izuku then stops hauling some trash and looks at Yagi. Izuku looks down at his right hand as he clenches it. You see, I never want to see people get hurt when I wasn't strong enough to stop it. I want to ensure I do the same as you and save as many people as I can. While I can't save everyone, I would regret it if I never used this chance to make me the best hero ever. And besides, Izuku then grabs his kendo sword and holds it out. When the time comes for me to take the title of world's greatest swordsman, I will not use my quirk. I will only use my skills to prove to the world and everyone in it that I didn't need a quirk to earn that title. Izuku smiles as he then slashes at the air with speed only earned through rigorous training. Yagi is speechless at what Izuku is saying, but smiles at the goal of the young man. He would still prove his worth through tackling this challenge without a quirk, while still using his power to save others. Man, you keep on getting better, young Midoriya. Well, it is an honor for me to have someone with such a kind, strong heart be my student. Yagi gives a thumbs up at Izuku as he smiles while scratching his head. Izuku then started to clean up the beach at a faster rate to help his body be worthy of one for all. 3 weeks later. Izuku is at the beach getting rid of more trash. Yagi had some other work to do, so he wasn't there to take the trash. Thankfully, Yagi thought of this beforehand and had set up a big dumpster out by the beach. As Izuku hauled 2 more trash bags up the steps and into the dumpster, he heard someone yell. Hey, where did all my salvage go? Izuku turns around to see a teenage girl looking at the junk. She had pink dreads and yellow eyes that looked like they had the crosshair of a scope in them. She was wearing some steampunk goggles, brown gloves, a black tank top, and had a mechanic's jumpsuit on, with the top part tied to her waist. She turns around and sees Izuku just put away his last trash bag. You have been stealing my baby-making materials, haven't you? She points accusingly at Izuku. What do you mean baby-making? I am just cleaning up the beach, Izuku yells out as he holds up his hands in defense. The girl then walks over to Izuku and grabs his hoodie. She then starts to drag him over to the next lot. I use this stuff to help make my babies, my inventions, and you have been taking it. Izuku then goes ooh as he now knows what she means, but is still confused as to why she is dragging him. Where are you taking me? Because you have taken away some materials I need. You are gonna help me find some more. She exclaims happily as she brings Izuku to a storage garage in the next lot. When she opens it, Izuku sees that it is full of crazy inventions and a makeshift workshop. So here is the deal: any strong metals or junk with circuitry in it you find while cleaning, you will bring here. If you do this, then I won't get mad and break your legs. The girl smiles as she then pulls out a big heavy wrench. Izuku gulps and rubs his legs, hoping that it won't come to that. Alright, since I can still get a workout if I bring those materials to you, and because I did take away some of your scrap, I will help you out. The girl smiles and sits down at her work table. Great, now get me some car doors please. Before Izuku leaves, he approaches the girl first. My name is Izuku Midoriya. What is your name? The girl looks at him and holds out her hand. My name is Mei Haestum, future inventor extraordinaire, and I won't be able to remember your name. She smiles as Izuku is confused by her saying she won't remember his name and starts to try and shake her hand. Before he could take it though, her hand then starts to feel up Izuku. What are you doing, Izuku? Wow, you got a lot of muscles and you said you are training. Why? Hasum asks. Well, I am training for the UA Hero Course entrance exam. Izuku stutters. Hatsum smiles and stops feeling him up. That's great, I am going to apply for the support course at UA2. If you make it in, I can use you to help test my inventions. In return, I can make you your support gear. Hatsum smiles as she then shows off the inventions in the workshop. Izuku is surprised to hear that she is applying to UA as well. The inventions she showed looked crazy, but well built and helpful. Hey Haestum, can you make some swords, Izuku? Sure I can, and just call me Mei. While I never did master blacksmithing, I can easily make a sword that has jets to apply speed to your swings, or some electric coils to make it a sharp stun baton, Mei. No need for any of the extra gadgets Mei. I only need 2 basic katanas. I can even help you make them since I also know some blacksmithing. Izuku? Mei gains a huge grin as Izuku has just said something he shouldn't have. Really? You know how to make weapons? That's great, you can help me out with some work as payment for the swords. This is going to be great new best friend, Mei. Izuku blushes at this news. I'm your new best friend, Izuku? Sure, I don't really have any other friends, and this way we both can have a friend when we get into UA Muscles. Izuku is confused by the nickname. Muscles, why did you call me that? Well, because I have a hard time remembering names, this nickname will help me have something to call you, Mei. Izuku just grins nervously and once again tries to shake hands. Well, I look forward to working with and being friends with you, Mei. Mei then shakes his hand and gives Izuku a smile that he thought was pretty cute. Likewise, Muscles. 3 weeks later. 2 months have passed since Izuku took up the challenge to clean up Dagaba Beach so that he can train his body to inherit All Might's quirk. Even though he has started to help out Mei by bringing her some scrap now and then, he is still making good progress. Izuku just finished getting the area in front of where Yagi parks the truck cleaned up. There is still some work to be done, but Izuku is getting there. Izuku has the day off and is hanging out with his mother. They are going clothes shopping for Izuku's hero suit. Because Mei had said she would be his exclusive support technician, he needs to have the base of the costume ready for Mei to upgrade it. When Izuku first told his mom about Mei, she cried at how her son got his first girlfriend, even though Izuku denied that she is his girlfriend. Izuku knew while shopping that his hero costume would not be some skin-tight bodysuit or jumpsuit. Because he still likes his baggy clothes and hates if something is tight on him, he and his mom are looking for clothes he can use. So far they had found a black undershirt, some dark green cargo pants, and a dark green short-sleeved hoodie. The pants were great because the pockets could store useful things and the hoodie could easily be modified to have some armor pads built in. Bonus points because they are the same dark green color. Right now they had just left a sports store with some white gloves, a red utility belt, black knee pads, black elbow pads, and a white short scarf. The whole time shopping, Inko kept teasing her son about Mei. Inko was just happy that Izuku finally found a friend after so many years. Since she was still friends with Mitsuki Bakugo, Katsuki's mom, Inko knew that their sons didn't hang out anymore. While Bakugo doesn't pick on Izuku anymore, they do not hang out like regular friends do, because they see each other more like rivals than anything else. Inko is happy that Izuku may start to interact with kids his own age and make friends once he gets to UA. 2 months later. Izuku has cleaned up about 65% of the beach at this point. It has stopped smelling as bad, and he only has the really heavy stuff left. When Izuku first started, he decided to get rid of the trash bags and any gross stuff first. This way he doesn't have the worst things to deal with as the last thing he has to clean. He figured it would be good to treat this like a band-aid and get the worst of it over with fast, and it had worked out. Izuku was able to find an old barbell and some weights that Izuku would use to train. The barbell was big and had its total weight be about 500 pounds. Izuku would bench press it and sometimes would add the weights to one end of the bar. He would then practice his sword swings with it like this to make sure he didn't lose out of his sword training. When Yagi saw him training like this, he had BLD spew out his mouth at how surprised he was to see this. Izuku also spent time with Mei at her little workshop. When he first started to help her, he had to clean up her workshop because everything was just tossed around without care. Mei had this problem where if she had one of her inventions fail, she would just toss it on a pile of broken inventions that she would fix later. The problem was that she would then start on a new invention and forgot to fix the failed ones. She was thankful that Izuku got her to remember about some of them and even finally fix some of them. Mei and Izuku got to know about each other a bit more and even found herself really enjoying his company. Mei and Izuku also tried to make some new swords for Izuku, but it didn't turn out that well. Mei was more rusty at blacksmithing than she thought after the first few failed attempts at making just a simple knife. Izuku was there to comfort her and remind her that blacksmithing isn't easy. Even the cutlass Izuku made had some problems with it, so a katana isn't something you can learn to make in a day. This made Mei happy and glad that there is still more to learn about making things. Yagi, meanwhile, is proud of the work Izuku has done and thinks they might be ahead of schedule. Both he and Izuku spent time together to help build their student-master relationship. They even hung out on some of Izuku's days off to have fun together. Yagi really enjoyed how creative Izuku was and was shocked at how detailed some of his other hero notebooks were. Yagi is glad that his successor is smart and really happy to spend time with him like his own masters did for him. One of his favorite moments with Izuku was when they got some lunch and ate at a nearby park. They just sat at a bench and joked with each other as they ate. It reminds him of when Gran Torino gave him a break from training and they ate some ice cream on the roof of his home. Izuku notices how close he is to cleaning the beach and decides to kick things into overdrive. 1 month later. Yagi was getting out of his truck ready to help start training Izuku today when he heard something. Erg! Yagi hears someone roar out as he then runs to see what is going on. What he sees surprises him. The whole entire beach is cleared as he sees Izuku standing shirtless atop a mountain of junk yelling his lungs out. Hey kid, are you serious? There isn't a speck of trash even left. Oh my goodness. Yagi transforms in the middle of his sentence as he stares at Izuku. Izuku then starts to wobble as he falls off his mountain. All Might then rushes in and catches him and helps him to his feet. Holy cow, young Midoriya, I never expected to see you clean this beach in about 5 months. I thought that the earliest would be 7, but you somehow did it. All Might hugs and pats Izuku's back after his hard work. Izuku smiles shakily and looks at All Might. All Might, I did it. Do you think I am ready now, Izuku? Haha, my boy, you are more than ready. Look at yourself now. All Might takes a picture on his phone of Izuku to show him. Izuku had grown an inch and his body became stronger, but more defined as well so as to not lose speed. Izuku has also upgraded his 6-pack to an 8-pack, and he now looks like he is made of marble with how condensed his muscles were. My boy, you have done well and come so far. You still have some steps to complete until you can handle my full power, but I know you can do it. All Might then puts his phone away. Izuku then looks at his hand. All Might, I have come so far. You have helped me a lot by doing this. But do I really deserve this? How did I get so lucky, Izuku? All Might smiles and puts his hand on Izuku's shoulder. Are you really worried about that after these 5 months? All Might then plucks a strand of his hair. Midoriya, it was you busting your butt that made this happen, not me. Someone once told me that there is a difference between being lucky and deserving. One is an accident, the other is a reward. Never get these two confused. All Might then holds the hair out. Let this lesson be remembered, young Midoriya. You have earned this power. Thank you, All Might, Izuku says as he looks up and smiles. Now then, eat this. All Might then tries to hand over the strand of hair to Izuku. Izuku looks at him confused and yells, This is not how I thought I would get your powers. Sorry, but you have to swallow a piece of my DNA. That's how this works. This is also less gross than eating a fingernail or drinking some of my sweat. Don't worry, I washed my hair with unscented shampoo so it doesn't taste weird. If all I need is to have some of your DNA, couldn't you just prick your finger, put a few drops of your blood in some water, and then I drink that water instead? Izuku asks All Might, who puts his hand to his chin. All Might then transforms back into his skinny form. You know, I didn't think about that, but that could work. Yagi, please don't tell me that the reason you tried to give me your hair and didn't think of another way to pass your quirk was because that was how you got it, Izuku. Yagi then turned around and started to walk towards his truck. I have no idea what you mean. Now let me grab a bottle of water from my truck. Oh yeah, that was definitely how he got one for all passed down to him. Izuku thinks as he follows Yagi. About 45 minutes have passed since Izuku drank from the water bottle. Since it takes about an hour or two before Yagi can tell if the quirk was passed on, he has Izuku relax as he then takes the leftover trash to a real dump. Izuku really hopes that it was passed on so he doesn't have to eat the hair. As Izuku watches the waves crash on the now beautiful sands on the beach, he can't help but think of a new attack. As he thinks about having his body flow like water, Yagi comes back from his final trip. Hey there, I was thinking that to celebrate what you did, how about I take you out to eat to reward you, Yagi? Sure, I would love that, Yagi. Just let me call my mom to let her know. Izuku grabs his phone and lets his mom know that he won't be back for dinner. Inko tried to tease him thinking he was going out with Mei. Izuku denies that and tells her he is going to go with his new trainer. When Izuku first started going to the beach to train so he could inherit One for All, he told his mom that he met a trainer who wanted to help Izuku pass the entrance exam. This way his mom wouldn't worry, and he was technically telling the truth about training. After the call, Izuku felt a change in his body. It seems that your idea worked. I was able to pass my quirk to you, Yagi says as he has also felt the change. Because I want you to rest. We will try and use your new power tomorrow, all right, Yagi? Izuku nodded as he agreed because he was tired from kicking things into next gear to clean the beach as fast as possible. They both later went to one of Yagi's favorite ramen shops, and they both had a nice time. Izuku is excited to start the next step of training, learning how to use One for All. The next day, Izuku and Yagi meet at Daigaba Beach at 6 in the morning so no one would see them train. If someone does see them, Yagi has a license that allows him to teach someone how to use their quirk outside in an open space. Alright, young Midoriya, when training you to use One for All or talking about it in public, let's call it something else so no one hears about it. Yagi, Izuku nods and lets him continue. We will call it Stockpile since it took you so long for your quirk to build up power for it to finally show up, and I have something similar so it makes sense for me to help you. Yagi. Alright then, so how do I use my new quirk? It would be great to know how to control it before the entrance exam. Izuku. You see, the key to use it is a bit strange. It changes from user to user so it won't be easy. Yagi says seriously. What do you mean it changes from user to user? Izuku asks, confused. Well, my master said that she had to focus on her quirk to feel the connection to Stockpile for her to use it. As for me, I just feel it out as I try to use it. Yagi shrugs. Izuku falls down anime style when he hears this. So you're telling me that my only option is to just feel out my quirk, Izuku? Haha, no. What I am saying is that you need to just do what comes natural to you. Even with people who are related to each other who have the same quirk, most of them use it using a different method. Yagi lectures with his finger pointing up. Izuku nodded as he kinda understood what Yagi was saying. There are many cases where a parent and child have the exact same quirk, but they both activate them differently. That makes sense, I guess. So what should I try, Izuku? Like I said, it is best to try what comes naturally to you. If that doesn't work, we can try something else. Yagi. Izuku then closes his eyes and tries to think of what to do. Then he starts to visualize him holding a sword in his right hand. Izuku focuses on that feeling and his hand starts to tingle. When he opens his eyes, he sees his hand and part of his arm glow with red veins. That's good, Midoriya. Whatever you did seems to have worked out. Yagi. Izuku smiles as he feels like he had an ocean of power that was set on fire in the middle of a storm raging within him. His arm really starts to hurt, so Izuku then reels back his fist to try and unleash some of it. Wait, no, stop, Yagi yells, waving his arms out. Izuku stops just in time as the power turns off. What do you mean stop? Izuku asks, confused. Look, while your body can hold stockpile now, it was kinda rushed to do it. It would be safer if you try not to release 100% of your power. I recommend lowering it to something that doesn't make your arm hurt just holding it in. Yagi says this as he signs because Izuku almost gave him a heart attack when he almost released his full power towards him. Oh, I guess that makes sense. Okay then, let me try to lower it. Izuku says as he closes his eyes again. When he visualized the sword again, he felt the power from before ramp up as he tried to pull some of it back. Tugging on the sensation did nothing, but after thinking about how visualizing a sword helped him, he figured he would try thinking of a similar analogy. He starts to think of the sword's blade becoming duller and duller. It works as his arm is still glowing, but isn't hurting from trying to contain the power. Alright, now that looks much better. Now time to release it onto the ocean. Yagi yells as he then points to the ocean. All you need to do is reel your fist back and yell from the depths of your heart smash. Izuku's sweat drops at Yagi's behavior, but complies with him anyway. It would be a good idea to see what he was able to do and see how much power he was using. Okay then, Izuku gets into his stance and faces the ocean. Smash, Izuku. The punch creates a shockwave that indents the waters a little. It felt amazing to use this power, and Izuku felt like he did when he first mastered his onigiri strike. However, it was nowhere near All Might's level. That was good, kid. You did pretty well. If I had to say, you were able to use about 8 to 9% of Stockpile's power. Yagi says as he cups his chin. Izuku is surprised that he was only able to use at most 9% power. Is that really the best I can do? I thought I would be able to do more than that, Izuku. Of course, that is the maximum you can do. Your body hasn't adjusted to it yet. Your body needs some time and training until it can handle more horsepower. It is like someone who just suddenly grew a tail and you asked them to do tricks with it. Yagi, Izuku looks up at his master. Oh, once again, that makes sense. It took me a while to learn how to use a sword until I was able to fight in practice matches against other students at the dojo. Izuku. Don't worry, young man. This old man will help you figure out how to use your newfound power. We now have 5 months' worth of training left for you. Yagi gives another thumbs up. Thank you. And you aren't an old man, Yagi. Izuku. Yagi laughs as he pats Izuku on the back. Izuku just hopes he will be ready for the entrance exam. 3 months later. Izuku has been training to use One for All with Yagi for a while now. He still has some problems controlling his new quirk and has had some misfires every now and then. Izuku has also spent more time hanging out or helping Mei. He finally got her to fix or scrap all of her broken babies that were lying around. Mei has been studying katana sword making, and is making great strides. Izuku has also been studying blacksmithing because it is one of his hobbies, and he is great help for Mei. It seems that right now Izuku has a little more knowledge about blacksmithing than Mei. They are getting closer to making Izuku his new swords, but still need a month or two. Izuku has also spent some time with Uncle Iroh as well. They spend their time talking, tea-macking drinking, feeding birds, and playing chess. Iroh still gives Izuku the slip whenever he asks for a clue about how to cut steel. Izuku is sitting in a meditation stance as Yagi watches over him on the beach. Izuku has been having this feeling like he isn't using one for all in the right way. Izuku opens his eyes and looks at Yagi. It's no use, I can't seem to get a better grasp on it. Izuku? That is all right, there is still some time left. I'm sorry I can't give you better advice. Yagi shrugs. When I got stockpile, I was able to use all of it right off the bat. However, I was trained longer by my master to handle stockpile before I went to UA, so no need to worry. Yagi. I know. I just can't help but feel like I'm not using it right. Izuku says as he stands up. Don't worry, we will figure it out. Now let's go back to combat training. I know you have mastered hand-to-hand combat, so let us train you using your kendo sword. Yagi says as he tosses Izuku's kendo sword to him. All right then, thank you for helping me sword train out here. Izuku. It's quite all right. I remember you said that sword training is important to help you remember the basics. You also said that it helps you remember the feeling like your sword is an extension of your body. Yagi says as he watches Izuku do some practice swings. Yeah, I feel like my entire body is part of my sword. Izuku stops and looks at his kendo sword. I got it, Izuku. What do you have? Yagi jumps back in surprise. I am a sword. Izuku looks happily at his master. Yagi gives Izuku a confused look. I have no idea what you mean. I mean how I use my entire body to use my sword. I use every part of my body to fight, swing, and defend with my swords. I use my arms, legs, chest, and head. I need to use one for stockpile across my entire body. When you use stockpile, your whole body changes into your muscle form, not just your arm or leg getting bulky. Izuku then starts to imagine the sword again, but instead of just holding it in his hand, he remembers the feeling of using his entire body to swing his sword. He then starts to glow across his body, but once it spreads across his whole body, it dies down. Then his whole body starts to emit green electricity off his body. Whoa, Izuku says surprised. Whoa indeed, Yagi says as well. Yagi then bulks up back into his strong form and laughs. Haha, well, you sure are creative, young Midoriya, but the real question is, can you fight? All Might then gets into a combat stance. I don't know, but I want to find out, Izuku says as he readies his kendo sword. Then let's go, All Might says as he and Izuku start to train. It looks like I got another step closer, even though I still have about 100,000 left. Izuku thinks as he battles All Might. 2 months and 3 weeks later. Izuku has trained to use one for all in this new way with All Might. He called this new form Full Cowl, and it has really amped up his sword techniques. Now when he uses Dragon Twister while in Full Cowl, he can send his foe to the top of a 2-story building. He and Mei have also finally made Izuku his new swords. They are just 2 basic katanas with black sheaths and handles. They have no name, but Izuku is sure he will think of something for them. Well, here you go. I'm sorry it took so long, but at least they are sturdy. Mei smiles as she hands Izuku the swords. It is no problem, Mei. Thank you so much for helping me make these. It was a lot of fun when we were not exploding. Izuku gives Mei a grin that makes her feel hot in the face. Why does his smile make my face heat up? Mei questions herself. I am still working on your hero suit, though, so it won't be ready for the entrance exam. Mei. It will be fine. I don't want to wear my hero suit before I enroll anyway. Izuku. Well, I hope these babies help you out with your entrance exam. Mei gives a thumbs up. They will, I'm sure of it. Izuku smiles as he ties the swords to his waist. The sun is setting on the beach as Izuku and Yagi finish training. Izuku was able to use the idea of being like water to develop a new sword technique. Izuku calls it streaming wolf swords, and he dodges and weaves through his foes, like his body is water flowing in a stream. As he flows by his enemies, he cuts them and sends them flying. Well, young Midoriya, I think you are ready for the entrance exam. Yagi smiles as he sits down. I think so too. I can use about 10% of stockpile. Izuku sits next to Yagi as they watch the sun set. You have done well, and I want you to know that, pass or fail, I will always help you become the next symbol of peace. Yagi smiles as he looks at Izuku. I know that I will always have those close to me to help me out when I need it. Izuku smiles back as he looks at Yagi. I will always have you, my mom, Mei, Uncle Iro, and my great-grandmother to watch over me. Izuku. Huh? You have never said anything about your great-grandmother before. Who is she? Yagi. Oh, I guess I never had. Well, it is a sad story, but it means a lot to me. Izuku. Izuku then retells the story of his great-grandmother and his mom giving him the picture of her to him. Yagi's eyes water as he is told this story, but smiles at the end of it. That was a beautiful story, and she sounds like a lovely woman, young Midoriya. I also think that she is watching over you. Yagi. Thank you, and I think so too. I am happy that I have a hero's blood flowing through my veins. That's why I always keep her in my heart. Izuku says, and then pulls out the picture from his wallet. I know that she will watch over me, but I only wish I got to meet her. Izuku smiles sadly as he looks at the photograph. Yagi looks at Izuku and sees the picture. He thought he saw something peculiar out of the corner of his eye. Hey, if it is all right with you, can I look at the picture, Yagi? Oh sure, here you go. Izuku hands the photo over, and when Yagi gets a good look at it, he is shocked. This was a picture of his master, the one who passed one for all to him, Nana Shimura. He can't believe that Izuku was her great-grandson. When her husband died, she had to give up her son to an orphanage. Nana didn't want All for One to get his hands on him, so she did one of the hardest things she had to do and gave up her son so he would be all right. When she sent her son away, she made Gran Torino and him promise that when she is gone that they would not try and find him. She didn't want to risk All for One tracking them when they try to find and pick him up. Yagi is now worried that he gave one for all to her descendant and might have painted a target on his back. What do I do now? I can't just break my master's trust that I would go back on the promise that I made to her. Even though I only promised to not interact with her son and not any of her descendants. But I also can't just ask Midoriya to give me back One for All. I know that he can become the next #1 hero and world's greatest swordsman. Ooh, what do I do? Yagi starts to freak out in his mind about this dilemma. Then out of nowhere he feels the embers of One for All spark out within him. He then feels like someone is next to his left ear. It is okay, Toshi, you gave it to the right person. Yagi is surprised and looks to his left and is shocked that no one is there. Yagi, are you all right? Izuku asks, confused. Yagi smiles with tears in his eyes, then turns back toward his successor and gives him back the photo. Yes, I'm fine, I just thought I heard someone. Yagi. He then wraps his right arm around Izuku's shoulders. You know if you pass, and I know you will. I will tell you a secret. Master, thank you. I am glad you also think that young Midoriya is worthy. Yagi. Really? Cool, I will try my best. Izuku smiles as they both go back to watching the sunset. Yagi looks at Izuku's smile. I always thought that his smile was familiar. I guess he has your smile, Nana. Izuku is ready to take the entrance exam and starts his hero training at the school All Might has graduated from. Yua won't know what hit them. A entranceway. Izuku is now standing in the archway of Yua High School ready to take the entrance exam. He has his swords in a silk sword bag tied to his backpack and is ready to use them. The exam consists of a written test and a physical exam. Izuku not only trained for the physical portion, but also studied to be ready for the written test. Right now, many students who want to be heroes are applying. Being a UA graduate helps start off people's hero careers with a bang. Bakugo just glares at Izuku before walking away. Bakugo has had a slight change since the slime villain incident. He was not as antagonistic as he used to be and just left Izuku alone. However, the few times they have crossed paths, they did stare down at one another. Izuku shakes his head to refocus on UA. He looks back at the entrance and thinks about the heroes who have graduated from UA and are some of the top-rated. Some of the best heroes who have graduated from UA are in the likes of All Might, Endeavor, Best Jeanist, and Hawkeye Mihawk. Izuku later found the video again because it was taken down for its violence, but was later re-uploaded when he was 7. It was then he found out who the hero was in the video. The greatest swordsman in the world and number 7 hero, Hawkeye Mihawk. He is about 6'6" tall and has black hair, mustache, and beard. His hero costume consisted of black boots, violet pants, a musketeer hat and feather, cross necklace, and a black trench coat with red cloth lining and red sleeves. His quirk is called Hawkeye. It allows its user's eyes to have the eyesight of a hawk's eyes and looks like a hawk's eyes as well. There are no real downsides to it, but no real upside either since it just allows you to see farther and better. He carries 3 weapons, one on his back that is the strongest black sword in the world. One is a hidden knife in his necklace, and the last one is a kodachi strapped to his lower back. The kodachi is a small sword that is around the total length of 2'9" long and looks like a smaller katana. This sword is the most important because it is another black blade that proves that whoever holds it is the strongest swordsman in the world. For some reason, no one can just take the sword, unsheath it, or try to steal it. It is another one of the world's greatest mysteries, and the only way to take it is to defeat its owner in sword combat. If the owner dies some other way before someone can defeat them, a tournament is then held to find its next owner and New World's greatest swordsman. Izuku shakes his head to clear out his thoughts on Mihawk. He has an exam to take, and just standing here won't do anything. As he walks inside, he sees a brown-haired girl about to trip. Before she fell, Izuku caught her and helped her to her feet. She was shorter than him with bob-cut brown hair and had a permanent blush on the sides of her cheeks. "Sorry for catching you. It would be bad luck to fall before an exam, so I hope you don't mind." Izuku smiles. "Oh, thank you, and I don't mind. I am just really nervous." The girl smiled. "I don't blame you. Today is really exciting. Well, I hope you make it and see you inside." Izuku then runs into the building so he isn't late. The girl then thinks he was really handsome and his arms felt so strong. She blushes and then runs in as well. 2 hours later. Izuku had finished the written test and is now sitting in the auditorium waiting for the explanation of the physical test. He is sitting next to Bakugo, and they both are sitting there in silence. The lights then dim as someone takes to the podium. "Welcome to the UA physical test. Now are you guys ready?" he yells as no one responds. Izuku knows this man as Present Mike and decides to throw him a bone. "Yeah," Izuku yells. Mike smiles and then points at Izuku. "Thanks for that, little listener. While I know we aren't supposed to play favorites, I hope you make it in. Now on to the rules of the physical test." Mike then turns on a projector that shows some pictures of robots and numbers next to them. Now here is how the test works. You will all be led to a combat ground where the tests will take place. The combat ground that you go to is listed on your exam pass that you have received earlier. Once there, you will enter the grounds and fight fake villains. The fake villains will be robots with point values attached to them. They range from 1 pointer to 2 pointers and to 3 pointers. The goal is to defeat the robots and gain the points attached to them. You want to earn as many villain points as you can before the time limit is up. If you have earned enough and scored high enough on the written tests, you will be admitted to UA. If not, well, there is always next year. Mike shrugs and pulls out a piece of paper. Some other rules of this exam are that while you can steal points from other examinees, you cannot hurt them. If you hurt another test taker, you will immediately fail. You also can't leave the grounds until the time limit is up. If you leave, that is another immediate fail. If you are hurt or don't want to fight anymore, you can head back to the entrance. Now, are there any questions? Mike yells out. A tall young man that has short blue hair and glasses then stood up with his arm raised. Yes, I have a question. On the printout it says there are 4 types of robots. If this is a spelling error, then it is shameful for a school like UA to allow this to happen. We are exemplary students who came here today to do our best, tall guy says. Thank you, examinee number 7771 for that request. I was actually getting to that. You see, there is a 4th robot that is worth 0 points. It's not like you can't or shouldn't defeat him. There is just no point. I recommend that you ignore it. Mike. Thank you and sorry about my interruption. Tall guy bows and then sits down. No problem. Now, if there are no other questions, let's head to the combat grounds. Remember the school motto to go beyond plus ultra, Mike. Plus ultra, the rest of the students yell. A few minutes later. Izuku is now in his training gear that he was wearing at the beach: green track pants, black undershirt, green hoodie. He also has his swords tied to his waist as he gets off the bus that went to his combat ground. He then sees the girl from earlier is next to him as they wait to start. Hello there, Izuku waves. Oh, hi there. What a coincidence that we are at the same battle area. Girl. Yeah, it is. Oh, I never introduced myself. I'm Izuku Midoriya. Izuku holds his hand out. I'm Ochako Uraraka. Nice to meet you. Ochako shakes Izuku's hands. Izuku noticed that she was shaking a little bit. Are you still nervous, Izuku? Oh, why, yeah. I'm still trying to calm down. We only get one chance at this. Ochako smiles wobbly. Just do this breathing exercise and you should be fine. Breathe in for 4 seconds. Izuku. She does this as she closes her eyes. Hold it for 7 seconds, then breathe out for 8 seconds. If you keep doing this, it should help. Izuku. She does this a few times and starts to visibly relax. Wow, that worked. Thank you, Ochako. No problem, now let's get ready. Izuku then looks towards the gate entrance of the battleground. Izuku then sees present Mike walking on top of the border wall. Izuku then puts on his bandana and readies his swords. As Mike gets next to the gate, he presses a button that slowly opens the gate. Start, Mike yells. The examinees look at Mike and each other confused. Come on, there is no real countdown when you are in a fight. Look, the green one has already started, Mike yells and points in the city. The other examinees then see Izuku covered in green electricity already in the battle city. Wait, how is he so fast? I didn't even see him move. Crap, he is gonna get a head start. The other examinees then run after him. Izuku, meanwhile, is running in full cowl, 3 swords at the ready, and sees someone pointers ahead and gets his swords ready. Thanks to his last few months of training, Izuku can use about 10% of one for all without hurting himself. Full cowl on Ajiri, Izuku cuts all the one-pointers in half and then runs off to look for more robots. Man running around in full cowl feels great. Izuku then finds 2 two-pointers who lock onto him. Target acquired. The 2 pointers say as they rush at Izuku. Now I can see how this move works on enemies that are not friggin' All Might. Izuku thinks as he starts to dodge and flow like water. Full cowl 3-sword style streaming wolf swords. Izuku passes by the robots without a scratch on him as the robots fall apart. Can't stop now, I need to get more points. Izuku says as he runs deeper in the city. As he is running, he decides that when using full cowl as he attacks, He won't say 3 sword style and full cowl together because it takes too long to say all of that. It really could give his enemies enough time to react. He finds a 3-pointer in an alley and the robot sees him, then fires some rockets at Izuku. He reacts fast and twists his body. Full cowl dragon twister, Izuku says as he uses the force of his attack to redirect the rockets back to its sender. The 3-pointer explodes as Izuku jumps over it to find more enemies. That was much easier to say instead of full cowl 3-sword style, Izuku thinks as he is back on the streets. Izuku sees some more 1-pointers on top of a building fire their guns at some other exam takers. While the bullets they are firing are made of rubber, they still hurt. Izuku wall jumps to the top of the building unnoticed and gets in his stance. Full cowl, Izuku then leaps to the robots while spinning. Hawk wave, Izuku slices the robots up then lands back on the streets and helps the ones getting shot at. After helping them, he runs off feeling amazing and ready to earn more points. About 5 minutes later. Meanwhile, in a dark room filled with monitors, the teacher's judges are watching the examinees try to earn points. There sure are a big batch of rookies down there. Snipe. It seems like this year has the biggest number of exam takers so far. Cementos. I do see a whole lot of potential students as well as some troublemakers. Vlad King. I see a lot of good-looking ones as well. That green one has earned about 50 points and is so handsome and so strong. Midnight says as she licks her lips. Don't make me get the spray bottle. A tired man says as he also looks at the green test taker. Now there is still some time left, so let's not count out those who take a second to get serious. Principal Nezu says as he then presses a red button. Let us see how these hero potentials react when faced with something more serious. Nezu smiles as he drinks his tea. 3 minutes remaining, Mike yells to everyone. Izuku slashes a 3-pointer and takes a few seconds to catch his breath. Alright, that should make about 85 points. I hope that is enough to pass. Izuku. The ground then starts to shake and Izuku starts to look around to find the source. He then sees a giant robot with the number 0 painted on its arms start to move down the street. That's the 0-pointer. That thing is as tall as most of these fake buildings, Izuku yells. He then sees other exam takers run away from this giant metal final boss fight. I guess that makes sense if you need to earn more villain points. Izuku then wonders if he should run or try to fight it to see if he can take it down. As the tall guy from earlier runs by him, Izuku hears someone yell out. Uowa! Izuku then looks around to see Uraraka trapped by some rubble caused by the 0-pointer. She is on her stomach as she tries to reach behind her to touch any of the debris on her. Izuku sees the 0-pointer moving down the street in a path that will lead it to the girl. Izuku then runs to her and lifts off the rubble on her. Can you move, Izuku? No, I think my ankle is twisted. Ochako tries to pull herself up but can't. Izuku then picks her up in a bridal carry and moves her out of the robot's path. When he sets her down, he turns back to face the robot. I can't let this thing hurt anyone else, Izuku thinks as he readies his swords and turns on full cowl. Izuku starts to spin his swords as he tries to build up as much power as he can that won't hurt him afterwards. As he does this, he feels his back tingle with energy that he has never felt before. What is this feeling and why do I want to apply as much energy as I can to it? Izuku follows his instincts as he adds energy from one for all to that spot. Everyone looks on with surprise as they see Izuku covered in green electricity start to have a sphere of wind appear on his back. While I don't know what is going on, I feel like I can trust this new sensation. Izuku then starts to prepare his ultimate attack. While I was able to cut the other robots in half, I don't think this one is made of the same material. The other robots were made of a flexible metal so the test takers can destroy them. This 0-pointers will need brute force to take it down. Izuku. While this is going on, Yagi is watching from the control room with the teachers and smiles. While you get no villain points for taking on this humongous opponent, there is an opportunity, Yagi. 10% full cowling Izuku. To really shine, Yagi. 3 sword style Izuku. And show what you are really made of, Yagi. 3,000 worlds Izuku. Now clench your butt checks, kid, and yell from the depths from your heart, Yagi thinks. The sphere of wind on Izuku's back then pushes him off like a rocket towards the 0 pointer. Smash! Izuku and Yagi yell think at the same time. Izuku smashes through the robot's chest and lands on the other side. The 0 pointer then starts to collapse in on itself with how its chest has a big hole going through it. Izuku then falls to his knees with how bad his back hurts. That's right, kid, show them what a true hero is, because nothing is nobler than self-sacrifice. Yagi smiles as Nezu jumps up and down in joy. Everyone who was watching was shocked to see the 0 pointer was taken down in one move. Whoa, did you see that? How is he so strong? I thought his quirk just made him emit electricity. Time's up, Mike yells, and everyone then sees a little old lady in a nurse's outfit walking through the crowd. All right, good work everyone. If you need medical attention, head to the first aid tent back by the city entrance. The nurse says. She then walks over to Uraraka and looks over her. Oh, are you all right, dear nurse? Oh no, I twisted my ankle. Ochako. The nurse then kisses her ankle and it starts to glow green. Wow, you fixed it. How did you do that? Ochako. It is because I am the school nurse recovery girl. I can speed up the body's healing process with a kiss. But be warned, it uses your stamina to help heal you, so it can't fix everything. So take some gummies to help gain some energy back. Recovery girl. Recovery girl then walks over to Izuku, who is on his knees. Oh my, your own quirk hurt you this much, recovery girl? Yeah, but I don't know why. It never did anything like create a sphere of wind before. I would have tested it, but the girl needed help. Izuku says as his back stings. Well, you sure have picked a good one, Toshinori. Here, let's take you back to my office to run some tests. Just give me a sec to help the others. Recovery girl kisses Izuku's back. Izuku didn't want to intrude, but he needed some answers. So he walks to the nurse's office to wait for recovery girl to finish helping other examinees. 20 minutes later. Up in the monitor room, the teachers are grading Izuku's final attack. Wow, he sure is powerful. Cementos. He isn't the first UA hopeful to try and take down the 0 pointer, but he is the first one to do it in one attack. Snipe. The kid isn't just strong, he has the skills to help back him up. Vlad King. Oh, he is just like a tamed wolf, skilled and well-trained in one moment, and can turn feral and dominate you in a second. Ooh, I sure hope he makes it so I can give him some private lessons. Midnight drools as she is taking a copy of the video. The tired man looks on with interest at the young swordsman. Yagi is smiling at his successor and then feels his phone vibrate. He looks at it and sees that recovery girl is asking to see him in the nurse's office to talk about Izuku. Yagi puts his phone away and heads to see what is up with Izuku. In the nurse's office, Izuku is sitting on the edge of the bed as recovery girl is finishing her tests she took earlier. Haha, I am here. What is going on, recovery girl? All Might says as he comes into the office. Oh, please be quiet. What if there had been others resting here? Recovery girl smacks All Might with her cane. All Might deflated and apologies while Izuku freaks out. All Might, what about your secret, Izuku? It is okay, young Midoriya. Recovery not only knows my secret, but she was also the one who performed my surgery when I got hurt 5 years ago. She also knows about One for All. Yagi. Oh, that's good, but what are you doing here, Yagi, Izuku? Yagi smiles at Izuku. I pulled some strings to see you take your tests. You didn't think I would miss this, would you? Also, just so you know, I am not going to pull any strings to help you pass. I figured you would be the type to worry about that. Yagi smiles as he keeps the real secret about him being here. Oh, thank you, Yagi. That means a lot to me. Izuku. Anyway, I came here because Recovery Girl sent me a text to come here. Yagi. Well, it is a good thing you are here. I heard from Midoriya here about how he never really got tested to see if he had a quirk. I decided to do those tests to see if One for All is reacting strangely within Midoriya, with how he created the sphere of wind earlier. Recovery Girl pulls out some test papers and looks at them. What I found has surprised me. Izuku and Yagi look at her worried about what she has found. It seems like Midoriya here actually had a quirk before One for All. Recovery Girl. WWH hot, Izuku yells. Yagi is also surprised, but decides to go the quieter route. What do you mean young Midoriya has a quirk? He hasn't shown anything that resembles a quirk while training. Yagi. Recovery Girl sits down at her desk and explains. Well, you see, my hypothesis is that Izuku always had a quirk. It just wasn't powerful enough to appear at any point in his life. The test also helped him finally discover it to save someone in a stressful situation. Recovery Girl. Izuku cups his chin and thinks. Do you think that by me receiving One for All it gave my original quirk enough power to manifest? Oh wow, Yagi, you really picked a smart one. Yes, I do believe that One for All powered it so that it appeared. My tests show you still do only have one quirk. It seems like instead of having two quirks where you have One for All and another quirk that One for All powered up like it did in the past, they merged. The tests show that your quirk was originally an air pressure quirk. You can compress and control air pressure to propel yourself or shoot out compressed air. The drawback is it needed a ton of energy to do so. Hence why you thought you didn't have a quirk. Because your quirk needed the power boosted, and One for All is the perfect battery they combined instead of you have two different quirks. Recovery Girl. Izuku smiles at this news of him actually having a quirk. Wow, that's amazing. It feels like fate that I needed One for All for it to appear. Then I was chosen to be your successor and was given it. Izuku looks at his master. Yagi smiles as well, also feeling that Izuku was destined to have One for All. Recovery Girl smiles and she snaps her fingers to get their attention. Alright, I will update your quirk registry to say that your quirk is called Stockpile. It builds up energy over time to give its users superhuman strength and speed. I will also put in that you can use excess energy to compress air for different uses. The drawback is that using too much energy to strengthen yourself can hurt you. I recommend that practice using your original quirk because you need more experience with it. You really hurt yourself out there and almost broke your back, so you need to exercise caution. However, while you technically have one quirk, you can still use your original quirk separately from One for All. So, you don't need to use both at the same time if you want just one or the other. Recovery Girl. Izuku nods and gets his things ready. You know you have a really strong quirk. Your parents or grandparents must have some strong air-related quirks. Recovery Girl smiles. Oh well, my mom can use telekinesis, my grandma can hover off the ground about an inch, and I don't know my grandpa on my mom's side. My dad's side of the family doesn't have any quirk related to this either. Izuku. Yagi frowns and decides it is time to tell the truth. Recovery Girl, can you give us a moment? Recovery Girl looks at how serious Yagi is and nods her head, then leaves. What did you want to talk about, Izuku? I believe it is time I tell you about my master and her quirk called Float. Yagi says as he sits next to Izuku. For the next half an hour, Yagi explains who his master was and how both his master and Izuku's great-grandma were one and the same. Toshinori also told how she sacrificed herself to save him. Izuku is crying, but still has a smile on his face. Well, I can't believe it. I really do have a hero's blood running through my veins. Izuku. You really do, and you also have her smile. Yagi smiles at Izuku, who is even more happy at how he resembles his grandma. I also believe that you are destined to wield One for All and become the world's greatest hero and swordsman. Yagi says as he ruffles Izuku's hair. Izuku's grin becomes wider, feeling like he defied all odds and made his fate become what it is now. Now let me give you a ride to get you home to rest. Your results should come in about a week from now, Yagi says as they both walk out of the office. 1 week later. Izuku is on the beach watching the sunset with a letter from Yua in his pocket. He and Mei decided to open their letters together on Dagaba Beach. Izuku had asked Yagi to give him a ride because he also wanted to bring his guitar with him. Izuku had bought an acoustic guitar a while ago to practice playing music. One of Izuku's favorite pastimes is to play on the beach after training. Now that he won't have enough time to come here as often if he gets into UA, Izuku decides to play one more song that Izuku had made. So clench your fist now, you're gonna break them. If they don't listen, well, you got to make them. The time is upon you to show them what you could do. You're breaking the mold and now you'll fight back. I know you'll break through someday somehow. The bells are ringing, your victory is now. The time is upon you to show them what you can do, and now they will know that your day has come. Wow, Muscles, I didn't know that you can sing or play a guitar, Mei says as she walks next to Izuku. Oh hey Mei, I didn't see you there. Izuku. Mei sits next to Izuku and pulls out her letter. Are you ready, Mei? Yeah, I am, Izuku. Mei then opens her letter and pulls out some papers and a little metal disc. Izuku had to stop Mei from taking the disc apart and pressed the on button. A projection then comes out and plays. Hello, I am Power Loader, the support course teacher here at UA. I am here to say that you Mei Hatsum have passed the exams. You have passed the written test and during the invention test, where you were given a box of parts and were given an hour to make something. You were able to make a drone that met our standards. Congratulations, you are now a student of UA. You will be assigned to the support class 1H that I teach, and I hope you will have a good time. Bye. Izuku and Mei are happy that she has made it into UA. Wow, you made it. Great job, Mei. I knew you were smart enough to make it in, Izuku. Hee thanks Muscles. I can't wait to make more babies, Mei says as she blushes at Izuku's compliment. Now it was Izuku's turn as he opened his letter. Haha, I am here as a projection, hologram All Might says. Wait, why is All Might doing these messages? Izuku and Mei speak at the same time. Izuku looks over his shoulder knowing that Yagi is laughing about now, and he is right. Yagi was laughing as he watched from the steps that lead to the beach. Izuku then looks back to the projection. You are probably wondering what I am doing here. Well, you are looking at US new heroics teacher. Izuku and Mei's eyes widened at the news. Huh? A hand comes off screen and gestures around while nothing, but All Might could be heard. Who is taking too long? Look, I just want to show him something first. Wait, I have to do how many of these? Oog. Alright, now listen, young Izuku Midoriya. You have passed the written test with a score of 100 out of 100. Good job. Now for the physical exam you scored about 86 villain points, which is more than enough to pass. Izuku and Mei smile at the news of Izuku passing as well. But wait, there's more. Izuku and Mei are now surprised to hear more. You see, your actions to save someone have inspired them. Here, take a look. All Might then shows a video of Uraraka walking into a classroom present Mike was in. Excuse me, do you know that green-haired guy? He was really strong, had 3 swords, took down the giant robot, and was really handsome. Uraraka whispered that last part while blushing. Izuku was able to hear it though, and was blushing as well. Mei was glaring at the girl and didn't know why. You see, he could have gotten more points if he didn't save me, and I don't know how many points he got. If he didn't score high enough, can you please give him some of my points? He saved me and I have to make it up to him, Uraraka. Izuku is surprised to hear that she wanted to help him pass. You see, your actions are what inspires others. That is one of the points to being a hero. But wait, there's more. All Might then presses play. There is no need, little listener. That kid is charting well on his own. Mike says as he ruffles Uraraka hair. You see, young Midoriya, there was more to the exam than just villain points. What kind of heroes would we be if we ignore those who need help? Not very good ones. That is why we have rescue points. Izuku and Mei are shocked that there was more to the exam. A panel of judges watches and gives rescue points to those who help others. Izuku Midoriya, you earned 100 rescue points, beating my score of 175 points. You have earned a total 186 points, earning first place. Izuku is now crying and is happy with how he beat All Might's score. Mei is also smiling and excited at how her friend was able to beat All Might in something physical. And Ochako Uraraka earned about 25 rescue points earlier, making her pass as well. Mei then is once again upset at this girl. Why does her being around muscles upset me? Mei thinks. Congratulations, young Midoriya, you are now part of Class 1 A Hero course. Welcome, this is your Hero Academia. The projection is now turned off and Izuku and Mei hug each other in joy. Once they realize they are hugging, they blush and quickly let go of each other. They then read the papers they got about how to get their school uniforms and student ID passes. Izuku is happy to now become a student at UA and can't wait to learn how to be a hero. The day sure has come for him. Aldera Middle School. Izuku and Bakugo are in their principal's office after school hours. Congratulations you two for making it to UA. You really done us proud, Bakugo, and you Midoriya have done the impossible. We are really proud and happy that you both made it. Both Izuku and Bakugo didn't really care for this faux celebration. Bakugo didn't really want to be here and Izuku knew that if he didn't pass the school wouldn't blink an eye. They were not rooting for him and were surprised when they heard he got accepted and joined in the celebration to make it seem like they had his back. After Izuku and Bakugo leave the office, Bakugo is about to leave and head home. Later, nerd. Izuku puts his hand on Bakugo's shoulder and make him look at him. Hey Kaken, can we talk really quick? Bakugo is annoyed but follows Izuku to somewhere that no one would hear them. What is it you want, Deku? Bakugo scowls. I need to tell you something that happened after the slime villain incident. Izuku says with his back towards his childhood friend. Izuku turns around with a serious look on his face. I found out I have a quirk. Bakugo's eyes widen at this news and grabs Izuku by his collar. So, this whole time you had a quirk. I bet you were laughing behind my back. I bet you were trying to make me look like an idiot, huh? Bakugo shoves Izuku into the wall. Izuku then grabs Bakugo's hands and makes him let go. Kaken, do you really think I would do that? It makes no sense. Izuku says, but Bakugo just gets angrier. No, I would bet my left leg that you were trying to look better than me. Izuku then grabs Bakugo by his collar and makes him look at him. Why would I do that? I would never say that. I am telling you the truth about me finding out I had a quirk after the incident. I respect you a lot to tell you the truth, damn it. Bakugo is surprised to hear Izuku swear and looks into his eyes. He can tell that Izuku is telling the truth. Alright then, tell me how this happened. Izuku then started to tell Bakugo how he found out about how he has a quirk called Stockpile. About how Stockpile takes time to build up energy, hence why it never appeared before, and how he had someone help train him to use it. Izuku then goes 5% full cowl to show Bakugo that he isn't bluffing. Alright then Deku, I guess you do have a quirk. But know this, it won't change anything. I will still beat you and become the next #1 hero. Bakugo yells then leaves. Izuku just smiled, happy that Bakugo now won't question him if he sees him using his new quirk. Izuku then leaves to head home and prepares for some UA paperwork. The next day, Izuku and Yagi are at UA to pick up his school ID. Yagi came along because in order for Izuku to bring his swords around school and use them for hero class, they need to do some paperwork to turn into the principal. In order to bring weapons or support gear to school, students need to file some paperwork and ask the principal in person. They are right now waiting for this other student to finish his meeting with Nezu before they can ask if Izuku can bring his swords. The door opens and a weird blonde sparking guy with a weird belt walks out with a smile on his face. Next, the intercom says, Izuku and Yagi stand up, and before they enter, Yagi whispers to Izuku, "Just so you know, the principal is a good friend and knows about one for all." Izuku isn't that surprised and nods his head. "Hello there, am I a mouse, bear, dog? Well, I am the principal. How can I help you today, All Might?" Nezu asks behind his desk. "Hello, sir, and please remember to call me Yagi in this form. I am here with young Midoriya to turn in the paperwork to bring his swords to hero classes and ask if he can bring them to the regular classes," Yagi says as he and Izuku sit down. "Oh, sorry about that, I forgot, Mr. Yagi. Anyway, sure, just hand them over so I can review them." Nezu. Yagi checks his pockets but can't find the papers. "Dang it, I'm sorry. I forgot them in the teacher's lounge. Just give me a moment to grab them." Yagi then leaves the room with Izuku and Nezu by themselves. "Would you like some tea? I can brew up a new batch." Nezu. "I would love some, but here, let me make it, sir." Izuku stands up and starts making some tea. Once he is done, he hands Nezu a cup and they start to drink. Nezu takes his first sip but stops. His eyes go wide with how delicious the tea Izuku made was. Nezu smiles and continues to drink. Nezu then pulls out a chessboard. "I know for a fact it will take Mr. Yagi a while to grab the paperwork. Would you like to play a quick game?" Nezu smiles. Oh, sure, that sounds like fun." Izuku then sits in front of Nezu and plays chess with him. About 12 minutes have passed and Yagi comes in tired holding the papers. "Sorry about that, it took me longer than I thought." "It is quite all right. Mr. Midoriya and I were just enjoying some tea and playing a round of chess." Nezu. Izuku meanwhile is staring hard at the chessboard and then smiles. Izuku moves his rook and looks at Nezu. Checkmate. Both Nezu and Yagi are surprised by this and Nezu smiles. "Well done, Mr. Midoriya. I didn't see that there. Now on to the paperwork." "Yes, sir. Here you are. This should allow young Midoriya to bring his swords to hero classes. Now about him being allowed to bring them to regular classes, I will allow it." Nezu interrupts Yagi and shocks him. "Just like that, Yagi." Nezu stamps the paperwork and starts to fill out the new paperwork to allow a student to bring weapons to class. "Just like that. I had a good time with Mr. Midoriya, and he made some really good tea. Think of this as a reward for beating me in chess. I just ask that you make me some more in the future." Izuku smiles and stands up. "Sure, I don't mind. Thank you, sir." "Good, your weapon pass will be ready on the first day of school. Just come on by before homeroom starts." Nezu. Yagi and Izuku then leave as Nezu finishes the papers. As he files them away, he thinks about how smart Izuku must be to beat him in chess. "I believe I might have found someone to take my special classes." All of the teachers felt a chill in their spines as they now dread the future. A few days later, Izuku is at home, getting ready for his first day at Yua High School. He is tying his shoes as his mom asks him some questions. "Do you have your notebooks and pencils, Inko?" "Yes, Mom." Izuku. "What about your handkerchief, and did you make sure to not bring any action figures, Inko?" "Mom, I have everything I need, and I need to get going," Izuku says as he stands up. "Izuku, wait. I just want to say you look so cool," Inko says as Izuku turns around. Izuku is wearing his Yua uniform with his bandana tied to his left arm. Thankfully, Yua rules about earrings are laxer than his old school, so Izuku can wear his earrings. "Thanks, Mom," Izuku says as he smiles. He then opens the door and heads off. Izuku had just left Nezu's office with his new weapon pass. He also made Nezu some tea really quick as a thank you. Izuku is now wandering the halls looking for his class. One-et, come on, where is it?" Izuku wasn't looking in front of him and runs into Midnight. "Oh, what do we have here?" It's the swordsman." Sorry about that. I was looking for class 1A. Izuku. "Well, you are lucky to run into me. I can show you where it is," Midnight says, then smiles seductively. Izuku blushes and tries to look away. "Tea, thank you. Really quick, can you sign this? Izuku opens one of his hero notebooks and turns to Midnight's page. Midnight looks at this and is surprised at how well she was drawn. Wow, this is good. Where do you want me to sign? Midnight asks, and Izuku smiles, then points to below her picture. After Midnight signs his notebook, she tries to put on her act and leads Izuku to his classroom. Here you are. Also, if you want me to pose for another drawing, just let me know. Midnight then winks at Izuku and leaves. Izuku shakes his head to remove his blush, then looks at the door that was made for the bigger students. This is it. This is where it will all begin. Izuku opens the door and sees the tall guy yell at Bakugo. Can you please take your feet off the desk? It is disrespectful to the craftsmen who made it and the students who used it before us to treat it in such a way. Yeah, today looks like it will be a good first day of class. Izuku closes the door behind him, and everyone heard this, turning their attention towards him. It's him, the one who took down the 0-pointer. The tall guy says as everyone starts to whisper to each other. Izuku is nervous and doesn't really know what to do. Him not interacting with people his own age for most of his life really hurt his social skills. Then the tall guy walks towards him. Hello, my name Tenya Ida, and it is nice to meet you. Hello, nice to meet you. My name is Izuku Midoriya. I have to commend you for seeing more to the exam. I must say you must be a top-notch student to be able to understand that the judges were watching and might give out extra points for helping others out. Ida. What? No, I just wanted to save the girl trapped in the rubble before the 0-pointer hurt her. I didn't even know about the rescue points till after. Izuku says, confused. That just makes you a better hero candidate, as you instinctively did the right thing. Ida bows to Izuku. Izuku's sweat drops at Ida's behavior, and then the door opens again. Hey, it's you, Ochako yells as she opens the door. It's great to see you again, and man, that attack you did on the robot was amazing. Thanks for saving me, by the way. Ochako. Oh, it is great to see you again. Hope you're doing better. Izuku. All of a sudden Izuku felt a presence behind the door, so he opens it to see what is out there. He was never expecting to see a tired grown man in a bright yellow sleeping bag drinking a jelly pack. It seems that you have good spatial awareness. The tired man then gets out of the sleeping bag. He has long dark hair, is wearing a black long sleeve outfit and gray scarf. It took you all about 6 seconds to quiet down. Not bad, but could use some work. I am your homeroom teacher Shota Aizawa, and I will also be teaching heroics. The class is stunned by this news, and we're all thinking the same thing. This tired guy is our teacher? Aizawa then rummages through his sleeping bag and pulls out some P uniforms. Put these on and meet me outside in the training field. He then walks away, and the students get up to grab a uniform. Izuku grabs one as well as he tries to remember where he has seen Aizawa before. A few minutes later, Izuku was the first one out and had brought his swords with him. When Aizawa raised an eyebrow at his swords, Izuku showed him his weapons pass. Aizawa nods and then gets his tablet out as the other students come out. Today we will be doing a quirk apprehension test. Aizawa. The students are once again confused at Aizawa, and Ochako raises her hand. What about orientation? You all are here to train to be heroes. It is a waste of time to do something like that. It's not rational. You all have been doing these physical tests your whole life, but have been told to not use your quirk. It is very irrational for the Ministry of Education to do this. Because of this, you kids don't know the limits of what your quirks can do, and we are going to fix that today. Aizawa then takes out a softball and tosses it to Bakugo. Bakugo, you have earned 92 villain points in the exam, so you can be our demonstration. Stand in the circle and use your quirk to throw the ball as far as you can. The only thing is that you have to stay in the circle. Bakugo smiles evilly as he stands in the circle. I will add a little heat to this and make their jaws drop. Bakugo reels his arm back and yells, "Die," as he uses his quirk to launch the ball. Die? is what a lot of the students were thinking as he threw. After the ball hits the ground, Aizawa pulls up the tablet and shows everyone Bakugu's score of 2303 feet. Everyone is shocked not only at Bakugu's score, but that they will get to use their quirks. We get to use our quirks, red-haired guy? This will be so much fun, pink-skinned girl. Fun you say, Aizawa says coldly. Izuku now feels like the pink girl had said the wrong thing. You are not here to have fun, you are to become heroes. In order for you kids to take this seriously, whoever gets in last place in all of these events will get expelled. Aizawa. Everyone is shocked by this except for Izuku, Bakugu, a tall girl, and a red and white hair kid. But that is not fair, Ochako protests. And do you think that villain attacks are? How about earthquakes, floods, or other natural disasters? It's a hero's job to combat that unfairness, and in order to prepare you all for that, you will face challenges that are not in your favor. That is why UA is the best hero school, because we go beyond plus ultra. Aizawa. All of the students then get serious as Izuku pulls out his bandana and ties it to his head. While I don't believe Mr. Aizawa is lying about expelling someone, I think he said this to make sure that no one holds back. Well, I won't either. Really quick, how come those two can have equipment? A guy with weird elbows says as he points to Izuku and a blonde guy. One has support equipment that helps him use his quirk, while the other has a pass to bring his swords to both regular class and heroics class. Aizawa. Dude, you can use swords? That is super manly, the red-haired guy says. Oh, I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Ijiro Kirishima, and that bandana looks super cool. Hello and thank you, I'm Izuku Midoriya. Izuku. Enough chatting, let's head to the first event. Aizawa. First event. The first event was a 54-yard dash, and everyone went but Izuku and Bakugu. As they take to the start line, Bakugu whispers to Izuku, "Let's see how your quirk will do against me, though I will still win Deku." They get ready and Izuku goes full cowl 10%, which surprises everyone because they thought his quirk involved his swords. "Start," the robot yells as Izuku and Bakugu take off. Bakugu uses his explosions to propel himself and got 4.5 seconds. Izuku, however, was faster, and when he crossed the finish line, he got 3.07 seconds. "Wow, he was slightly faster than you, Ida," Ochako yells in joy. "Well, I was only able to get to second gear in this test, but even so that was impressive," Ida says as he cups his chin. Bakugu looks at Izuku, who smirks at him. "Looks like I win." Bakugo scowls and stomps away while huffing. Second event. It was a standing long jump and Bakugu clears it easily. After him was Yuga Aoyama, a kid who can shoot lasers out of his belly button, and he also clears it. Izuku uses full cowl to jumps, but because he cannot do a running start, he only clears the sandbox and half its length as well. Aizawa looks at Izuku with interest. He was able to launch himself when he fought the zero-pointer, but hurt himself afterwards. That won't do. Third event. It was a grip strength test, and the student who scored highest was a kid named Mizo Shoji who had a mutant quirk that gave him extra arm slums. He was able to use all 3 of his arms on his left side to get a score of 1190 pounds. Izuku was able to raise his full cowl to 12% for a few seconds before it would hurt him to get a score of 275 pounds. Izuku looked around and saw a purple-haired girl not really trying. He walks up to and speaks. "Why aren't you trying? Don't you want to not get expelled?" The girl is surprised and looks at him. She composes herself and gives him a straight-faced look. "Look, my quirk isn't meant for this kind of thing." She then twirls one of her ear jacks around. Izuku jerks his thumb towards Shoji. "Why not try to do what he did and use your jacks? I saw that you are able to move your jacks like another limb. So along with your hands you can wrap your jacks around the grip to get a higher score." The girl's eyes widen at this and tries it out on her grip strength machine. She was able to squeeze just hard enough to barely get a score of 101 pounds. Wow, that worked. Oh, thanks for that. My name is Jiro Kaioyuka. She reaches her hand out. Izuku shakes her hand and smiles. Glad that I was able to help out. I'm Izuku Midoriya. Nice to meet you, Jiro. Jiro smiles and walks away waving behind her. Fourth event. Repeated sidesteps were the event that only Bakugo, Izuku, and a short purple ball-haired kid did well. Izuku did this test normally while Bakugo used his explosions to push him back and forth. The short kid took the balls off his head and bounced between them. Fifth event. It was the ball throw from earlier, only now everyone else goes. Bakugo didn't have to because he already went. Uraraka went up, used her quirk to remove the gravity from the ball and threw it. After a few minutes of nothing happening, Aizawa shows on his tablet that she got a score of infinity. What, she got infinity? Most of the students yelled as Uraraka rubbed the back of her head embarrassed. It was Izuku's turn as he stood in the circle ready to throw the ball. Izuku goes full cowling and reels his arm back. As he is just about to throw, he stops at the last second. Izuku looks at his arms, noticing that the electricity is gone, and turns around to see Aizawa's eyes glow red while his hair is standing up. Izuku was able to see the goggles that were hidden by Aizawa's scarf. Wait, I know who you are. You can erase people's quirks by looking at them. You're the erasing hero. Erase your head. The students murmur as most of them don't know who he is, with only one student saying that he was an underground hero. You are holding back? Why? Aizawa says plainly as he turns off his quirk. Well, I can't go over my limit, otherwise I would hurt myself. My quirk is like a double-edged sword where if I am not strong enough and use too much energy, I will face some backlash and feel the recoil of my attacks. Izuku. Okay, now it all makes sense. Still, I don't want you holding back anymore. While we will eventually teach you how to handle your power, I want you to go all out without hurting yourself. I don't want you to be only kinda strong. Then when things get dire, you go all out but leave yourself defenseless. Show me that you belong here and go beyond. Aizawa. Izuku nods his head and readies his swords. This confuses almost everyone except those who saw him do this before as they watch Izuku put one of his swords in his mouth. Izuku then tosses the ball in the air and turns on his quirk. The difference now is that he isn't going full cowl mode. Instead, the red veins appear on his arms and head neck. Meanwhile, All Might is hiding around the corner and watches in surprise. Hey, hold on, is he for real? As the ball comes down, Izuku gets in his stance and calls out, 3 sword style onigiri. Izuku pours one for all into the parts of his body that are holding the swords and slashes the ball to send it flying. He creates a whirlwind when doing this, and after a few seconds Aizawa looks at his tablet to see a score of 2405 feet. All Might watches with a smile. I remember, young Midoriya, you once told me while training on the beach that in full cowl you have at best a limit of 10%. Any higher and you will hurt yourself. But that is across your whole body. You said if you concentrate in certain points where you are strong enough, like your arms, you can achieve about 12–14% of one for all. Though you can only do that about 1 to 2 times before it, you will start to feel the backlash. Also, since you hit the ball with 3 points of this concentrated power, you can triple the output. What the heck, young Midoriya, when did you get so cool? Izuku puts his swords away and looks at Aizawa. Sir, I'm still standing and not hurt at all. A little stinging here and there, but no damage. Aizawa gives a creepy grin as he stares at Izuku. This kid. Everyone is surprised at how Izuku was able to get such a high score. They also were surprised at Izuku's 3 sword style with how strong and skillful he was. Aizawa then gets everyone's attention and moved on to the rest of the events. The other events were the long-distance run, seated toe touch, sit-ups, and they were nothing special. No one really had a way to use their quirks to get better scores, except for about 4 or 5 students. Izuku had done well in all of them, and it was now time to see the results. Alright, it's time to show you guys the result, and since it would take so much time to show each individual result, I will just show the overall total score. Aizawa says as he shows a hologram of the final results. As Izuku looks for his score, he takes off his bandana and finds that he had first place. Bakugo had come in third, just a little bit behind a Momo Yayarazu and ahead of a Shoto Todoroki. The one who got last place was the short purple kid named Minoru Mainta. Mainta is on his knees almost about to cry because he is about to be expelled. Just when he was about to beg Aizawa to let him stay, Aizawa stops him and smiles. By the way, that thing about expelling last place was a lie. It was a rational decision to help make sure you kids do your best. Almost everyone yells out at this news and wonder why he would do such a thing. The tall girl with black hair in a ponytail then looked at the group. You guys didn't know? It seemed obvious that he said he would expel last place to trick us into doing our best. Izuku then also speaks up. Yeah, I knew that. Sorry, I thought it was a trick and that he wouldn't expel anyone. I didn't say anything so that I did not risk him changing his mind because I do believe he won't have a problem doing it. Izuku grins nervously and scratches the back of his head. Everyone though how weird Izuku's range of emotions was to go from extremely serious to shy dork. Well, he is not wrong. Mainta, you were able to scrap by because of how creative you were able to use your quirk. If in the future, you do not continue to improve yourself or show that these few ideas are all you have, then you will be dropped to the regular classes. So, make sure you show that you belong here. Aizawa said as he stared at Mainta. Mainta was doing everything he could to not pee himself. When you all finish changing, there should be your schedule on your desk when you get back to class. As for me, I'm gonna take a nap. Aizawa then walks away with his sleeping bag. As everyone heads to the changing rooms, Aizawa is stopped by All Might. Do you have a second, Aizawa? Oh, so what does the symbol of peace want with me, Aizawa? I just came here to ask you 2 questions if you don't mind. All Might. Okay then, shoot. Aizawa says with his arms crossed. Thank you. First off, why didn't you expel anyone? You expelled everyone last year, so why not now, All Might? Last year, not a single one was able to be creative with how they used their quirks. They also did not really excel in anything. Even the ones with strength-enhancing quirks didn't do that well. They all passed because of how the exam panders to those with physical quirks, and it's not rational. Aizawa's eyes narrow. I see, my other question is a bit different. While I have had helped out some other heroes or sidekicks, I don't have any experience teaching others that much. If I am going to be teaching here, I do not want to let my students down. I was wondering if it would be okay if I ask for some help now and then. It would be very irrational to have our students fall behind because we were not able to help them. All Might smiles at the last part. Aizawa is surprised by this and narrows his eyes again. I am willing to help if you tell me what brought this on. All Might shifts uncomfortably and looks up into the sky. You see, I had an amazing master who helped be the man I am today. Recently, though, I was trying to help someone, but I realized that how unprepared I was to help and teach them. All I could say was do what comes naturally and things like that. While I eventually was able to help them with their problem, I realized it took a little too long and I thought I can't teach like this. Not while knowing at how much my master was able to help teach me. So that is why I would like your help. All Might said with his smile lessened a little bit. Aizawa stares at All Might for a bit until he signs. All right, I will give you help when you need it. Though my first piece of advice is to buy a book on teaching to help make sure you have a better grasp on it. All Might gives a thumbs up and pulls out a book from his back pocket as Aizawa then walks away. I am already ahead of you on that. Still, thank you, Aizawa. All Might then heads back to the teacher's lounge, hoping he can help his successor with any problems he comes across. Aizawa then thinks about how All Might said he helped someone, and he has an idea on who it was. Meanwhile is Class 1A. Izuku is grabbing his schedule as school is about to end in 1 hour. As he thinks about how to pass the time, the pink-skinned girl grabs everyone's attention. Hey, guys, how about we get to know each other before school ends? I don't mind doing that, but should we do this? the kid with yellow hair with a lightning bolt in it. Well, if we are going to be together for the next few years, we will have to get to know one another at some point. The tall girl. Izuku cups his chin and says aloud, not only that we will have to work together for training exercises, so we can introduce ourselves and explain what our quirks are. To also help us get to know each other, we can also add what we like. The pink girl smiles and jumps with joy. Yeah, come on guys, even though our teacher is a bit grumpy, I bet that even he would think this is a smart thing for us to do. Everyone looks at each other, and some are excited to get to know each other, while the rest begrudgingly agree to do so because there is nothing else to do, or they think it would be smart to understand how everyone's quirks work. Even Bakugo agrees to do this mostly for the there is nothing better to do part. Izuku is happy that he can add some entries to his hero notebook once he gets home. Everyone then introduces themselves, what their quirks are, and some things they like and hobbies. Though there were a few who didn't say what they like or any hobbies they had like Bakugo did when it was his turn. Most also didn't explain what their weaknesses are in case they have to battle each other for training. Izuku was happy that he at least knew everyone's name, and he didn't just have to think of descriptions to call them by. It is now the last person's turn, which happens to be Izuku. Izuku stands up and smiles. Hello, my name is Izuku Midoriya, and my quirk is called Stockpile. It basically builds up energy over time, and I can use that energy to strengthen myself and give me more speed. Because it takes time to build energy, I was kinda a late bloomer, but on the bright side, every time I use the energy, it isn't used up and it isn't wasted, so I don't have to worry about recharging. My hobbies are sword training, hero research, drinking tea, listening to music, and playing on my guitar. I look forward to working with you guys. Everyone says hi and thank Izuku for introducing himself. There are 3 people who are interested in what Izuku had said. The first was Todoroki, who was interested in his quirk and sword training. Next was Jiro, who was very interested that Izuku liked music and could even play a guitar. The final one was Momo Yaoyorozu, who was also interested in his quirk and sword training, but she was also interested in being friends with him who, like her, also likes to drink and make tea. The bell then rings informing the students that school is over. As Izuku is about to leave, he looks at the door and sees that Ida, Uraraka, Yaoyorozu, and Jiro stand next to the exit. Ida then raises his hand robotically. Midoriya, if it is all right with you, we would like to walk to the station with you. Izuku is surprised but smiles. Sure, I don't mind. Let's head on out. As they walk to the station, they chat and try to get to know each other better and enjoy themselves. Uraraka is talking to Momo but keeps fumbling her name. Hey Yazuroyu, sorry, I just keep mispronouncing your name. Momo raises his hands to calm Uraraka down. It's fine, this actually happens more often than you think. Jiro thinks for a second, then snaps her fingers. Hey, if it's all right with you, can we give you a nickname? I also have to take a moment to make sure I say your name right. Momo smiles and nods her head. Sure, that would be lovely. I wasn't really close to anyone at my old school to have nicknames, so today feels like a new start for friendship. Everyone smiles, and they all decide to call her Yaomomo to help make things easier. Izuku smiles at how he now has new friends at school, but as they reach the arch entranceway, he feels like he's forgetting something. Just then a pink missile collides into him. Hey Muscles, great to catch up with you. Ah yes, May, how could he forget that she also got accepted? As Izuku gets up, everyone looks on with confusion. Sorry, let me introduce you guys. This is May Hatsum. She is a support course student and my best friend. May, these are some new friends I made that are in the same class as me. Everyone greets each other, but the girls feel weird at how close they must be for Midoriya to call Hatsum by her first name. As everyone says hello, Izuku leans over to Momo to warn her. Listen, May really likes to make inventions, so don't let her know that you can create just about anything. She will go crazy and won't stop bugging you. Momo nods and thanks Midoriya for his warning. They all try to get used to Hatsum as she gives them nicknames because she won't be able to remember their names. Izuku smiles at his best friend's antics while his new friends get used to her. Izuku can't wait to see what tomorrow will bring here at UA. Next day in Class 1A. Most of the hero students thought that UA would be massively different from middle school, but they were wrong. UA still had regular classes like math, science, English, art, and history that you would find in a regular high school. UA just also had more extensive gym classes for P and had hero classes to train students to be heroes. So, after all of the regular classes were finished, it was time for either P, heroics, or both, and all the students were excited for that. After Present Mike finished the first day of English, Aizawa then came in to teach. Alright, today will be a bit tame to what you will face soon, but it needs to be done. Aizawa stands behind the podium, pulls out a remote and presses a button on it. A part of the wall opens up and 19 suitcases come out. Today for gym class you guys will exercise while wearing the hero costumes from the clothing bill you guys submitted before school started. The classroom starts to cheer and yell until Aizawa gives them a death glare. The clothing bill is a form hero students submit before they start hero school. Students fill out the form with their updated quirk registry and the design of the hero costume they want to wear. Once submitted, the hero school sends this information to support companies they have contracts with, and the company makes the costumes. Izuku holds his backpack with his hero costume in it and smiles. Because Recovery Girl updated his quirk registry and May wanted to be the one who makes his costume support equipment, he didn't have to submit the clothing bill. Mom raises her hand, and when Aizawa nods to her, she stands. If you don't mind, Mr. Aizawa, why are we doing P in our hero costumes? The reason why we are doing gym class in your hero costumes is to make sure they fit fine and are appropriate. Some of you have also asked for support items for your quirks, and we need to test them before you use them on other people. This will also let us know if we need to make changes to your costumes or change the equipment. Now get dressed and meet me in the indoor gym. Aizawa then walks away as the students get their costumes. A few minutes later. The class was walking into the gym wearing their hero costumes while Aizawa was standing in the middle of the room. Alright, some of you don't look half bad, though some could use some work. Aizawa then looks around noticing that he is missing someone. Hey, where is Midoriya? The class looked around to see him, but couldn't find him until they heard a yell. I'm here. I had to make sure my swords were tied on properly. They all turn and look at Izuku running in. Izuku is wearing the clothes he bought with his mom, and were now upgraded by May. He was wearing his red shoes, the dark green cargo pants, the black undershirt, and the dark green short-sleeve hoodie, though they were now armor-padded thanks to May. The hood was removable, so it doesn't get caught by villains or something else. The hood had 2 strips of cloth that looked like All Might's V-shaped bangs, but they also looked like 2 bird feathers to honor Uncle Iroh and Iroh's love of birds. He was also wearing the white gloves, though they were now knuckle-padded, and were made fingerless to hold his swords better. He had the black knee and elbow pads on, and a red utility belt that was upgraded to have his swords tied to it. Finally, he wore a short white scarf around his neck that he got, and May made some filters built in it. That way, when he didn't have a sword in his mouth, he could put on the scarf to help him breathe in smoke or poison gas. May also added a sharp teeth grin to the front of the scarf around his mouth because she said it would make him look cooler and more badass. Wow, Midoriya, you look so cool. Uraraka walks up to Izuku. Izuku blushes at what Uraraka costume was. I should have been more specific. They made my costume skin tight. It's not really my style. Izuku tries to look away but sees the other girls and blushes harder. The girls either blush Momo and Jiru, smile Mina and Toru, or have no visible reaction Tsuyu from Izuku blushing from them. Aizawa signs and stomps his foot to get everyone's attention. Okay, since everyone is here, we can get started. First, we will do some stretches and then exercises in your hero costumes. While doing this, feel free to ask each other questions about their costumes. That way you can either point out design flaws or help give the other person ideas on how to improve them. Now get started. As everyone started to do the stretches, many of the students paired up to talk about their costumes, and Izuku teamed up with Momo, Ida, Uraraka, and Jiru. While they stretch and limber up, Momo then turns to Izuku. I must say your costume not only looks practical, but is also kinda stylish. Izuku looks at Momo while blushing. Thank you. Your costume, looks nice. But why does your costume expose so much and have that bookshelf on your back? It was Momo's turn to blush. Well, as I said earlier, I can create any non-living item from my body as long as I have enough fat cells and know the chemical makeup of that item. In order for the item to come out, I need skin exposure, and it helps not rip my clothes. The shelf I have holds my books that have chemical formulas and the genetic makeup of useful items. That way I can look up that information if I need it. Izuku nods as he remembers yesterday. Okay, but why not use quirk clothes or Velcro to cover yourself? That way you are protected and not exposed to the elements. You can also have an ARM tablet with that info downloaded. Momo stops in place and stares at Izuku as he continues. Quirk clothes or Velcro and ARM tablet. What do you mean? Izuku also stops and looks at Momo. Well, you can have Velcro squares covering the parts of your body that the items you create come out of. That way you have protection, and the Velcro just moves back into place. The ARM tablet can replace your shelf. That way if you fall on your back you won't risk injuring it and snap you back in half. Momo's eyes widen at these ideas Izuku is giving her. Izuku then talks about quirk clothes. Though I think you might have to test to see if the items you create can come out of quirk clothes. They might work too. Izuku then points to Toru. Quirk clothes are clothes that have a person's skin or hair sample implanted into it. When that person uses their quirk while wearing those clothes, it becomes like a second skin and acts like that person's quirk. So, if you have a quirk that makes your skin shine bright, your quirk cloths will also shine. Or if invisible like Toru, you can still have clothes to protect you while still being fully invisible. Wait, they have clothes that can do that? Everyone stops and slowly looks at who had said that, hoping it wasn't who they thought it was. Sadly, it was indeed Toru who was standing there with only her gloves and shoes visible, and they think she was looking at Midoriya. Izuku blushing goes atomic as his head creaks towards Toru. Please tell me that you are not naked. Toru gestures a thumbs down at Izuku. Nope. Izuku then turns towards his teacher. Mr. Aizawa, sir. Aizawa signs and pulls out his tablet. Well, this is why we do these things before actual combat training. Okay, Yaoyorozu, you will make a redesign for your costume with Midoriya's ideas in mind and submit it to the support course. In the meantime, since it will take a day or two for your new costume to be made, you can still wear your current costume until you get your new one. Now Toru, you will do the same, but because you can't walk around unprotected and naked, you will have to wear the P uniform until your new costume is made. Understood? Yes, sir, Momo and Toru said. Thankfully, everyone else's costume was fine for the most part, and the rest of class went on uneventfully. Both Momo and Toru praised and thanked Izuku for his ideas while he was just happy to help. The next day. Everyone is excited because today will be the real first heroics class. As they wait for their teacher to come in, the students are asking each other who they think will teach today. Then the door opens, and the students look to see who it is. I am. Coming through the door in a heroic way, All Might slides in while doing a pose. Whoa, we will have All Might teaching us? That is so manly, Kirishima. He is so cool, I'm getting goosebumps, Ojiro. He is wearing his Silver Age costume, Tsuyu. It is so retro, Kaminari. All Might then walks up to the podium. Hello class, I will be teaching heroics at UA, and today's class will pull no punches. All Might then shows a card that says battle training on it. Both Bakugo and Izuku smile at this, ready to get into action. Get into your costumes and meet me at Combat Ground Beta. All Might then walks away as everyone grabs their suitcases. A few minutes later, All Might is standing in front of the tunnel that connects to the changing room and the combat grounds. Everyone walks out in their costumes except Toru, who is in her pea clothes and meets with All Might. Looking good, you newbies. This is the first time I am seeing you in your costumes, and I have to say that you look great. They say the clothes make the person, so make no doubt from now on you are heroes. Ida in his suit of armor raises his hand. Sir, since we are back in the combat grounds, are we fighting robots again? Nope. Today we are moving 2 steps ahead. Most villain attacks you see on the news are outside because of how easy it is for reporters to take pictures of these, but smart villains lurk in the shadows. You know, backroom deals, drug rings, smuggling, and many more. So, for today we will be having indoor battles to help prepare you for what you will mostly encounter. All Might smile. Now it was Tsuyu who raised her hand. Isn't this way too advanced to start us off with? Yes and no. By throwing you students into the deep end, this training exercise will help you understand the basics fast. However, keep in mind that there will be some rules put in place so no one gets hurt, even though real-life situations will not be as forgiving. UA will eventually make even these situations way more difficult than what you might encounter once you go pro. We like to go all out here, so do your best to keep up and go plus ultra. Most of the class also cheer out a plus ultra as well. All Might pulls out a script that has Izuku sweat drop at him. Really? A script, All Might? All Might then clears his throat. The situation is this. A group of villains have a bomb and are hiding in one of these buildings, while the heroes have to try and find them. The heroes win by either capturing the villains or making contact with the bomb. Because this is to help teach you newbies how to fight indoors, you don't have to defuse the bomb, just make contact with it. The villains win by capturing the heroes or by making sure the heroes don't come in contact with the bomb for 15 minutes. Wow, this really sounds like a movie or video game setup, Zoro. This whole thing feels like a video game, just like the entrance exam. Sato. You students will be placed in teams of 2 and will compete against another team. One team will be the heroes and the other will be the villains. The teams will be determined by drawing random lots. You will pair with whoever has the same number as you, so get drawing. All Might then raises a box with the random lots. Ida then goes robotic again with his arm raising. Sir, is this really the best way to determine teams? Izuku then taps Ida on his shoulder. It makes sense. Pros will often have to randomly work with another unknown hero when spontaneous attacks happen. You may never know who you might work with, know what their quirk is, or if they will mesh well with you and your quirk. Training like this is a good way to help prepare for the future. Ida cups his chin. I see life is a random series of events. I apologize, sir. Haha, no problem. Now let's draw. Everyone draws a lot and starts to pair up with their matching number. Izuku and Uraraka both got the same number 7. Wow. How lucky are we to pair up? Uraraka is smiling while Izuku grins sheepishly and scratches the back of his head. Alright then, now it is time to see which teams will start us off. So, Team 7 will be the heroes while Team 3 will be the villains. Both Izuku and Bakugo smile in surprise because they will face off against each other. Now the villains will be led to the bomb while the heroes will wait outside of the building. The rest of the class will join me in an observation room to watch and learn from these training exercises. After everyone went to their locations, both teams were given some capture tape and communicators and started to strategize. Bakugo and Ida were in the bomb room. Alright, so this is how things will go down. You stay here and guard the bomb while I leave to find and kill the heroes. Bakugo. What? Is that really what you propose we do? Shouldn't we both guard the bomb, Ida? Look, 4 eyes, even though we have the advantage, it is also easy for us to lose. All they need to do is just touch the bomb and they win. So I am gonna delay or capture them before they even set eyes on the bomb, Bakugo. Well, I guess that makes sense, but why not work together? It will be easier to capture them if we both fight. Ida. If we both stay here, it will also be easier for them to work together to capture us or get to the bomb, you dumbass. If we both leave to face them, then we leave the bomb unguarded, and they can hide so we can't find them, then they can still look around to find the bomb unnoticed. Since I am a better fighter, I can at least hold one or both of them off till time runs out. Also, since you are faster, if they find you and the bomb, you can run off with it to keep it away from them. This is the best plan, and you know it, idiot. Bakugo. Ida is appalled at Bakugo's vocabulary, but thinks about what he says. You are right. While we do have the advantage, it is really easy for them to win. If they had to defuse the bomb, then we could always find a way to stop or delay them. Your plan makes sense to make the best use of our abilities. Okay, I will follow your plan. Meanwhile, with the hero team. Okay, Uraraka, I think that we both go in together and stay together to look for the bomb. Izuku. But wouldn't it be easier if we split up to cover more ground? Uraraka tilts her head in confusion. Maybe, but I know that Kekken will not sit still. He will want to fight, and it will be easy for him to ambush us. But if he does, then we can help each other. Once we find Kekken, then you can split off to find Ida, because Kekken wants to take me down and will only focus on me. Ida will most likely stay with the bomb, so if you find him, you find the bomb. When you find Ida, you can use the communicator to let me know where he is so we can team up to get to the bomb. Izuku. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Alright, since your plan sounds like the better option, I say we do it. By the way, I was wondering why Bakugo calls you Deku all of the time, Uraraka. Oh, well, that's because it's his nickname for me. We have known each other for a long time, and that's why I also call him by a nickname, Kekken. But his nickname was also an insult to call me useless, as I thought I was quirkless for a while, and he thinks he is better than me. Izuku. Well, I like it. It reminds me of Deku, like you can do it. Hey, is it okay for me to call you Deku as well, Uraraka? Sure, I don't mind. Now let's get ready. Izuku then pulls out his bandana and ties it to his head. Izuku also decides to see how long he can fight without using one for all. He wanted to see how much better Bakugo got and wanted to challenge himself. Start, All Might yells through the intercoms. Izuku and Uraraka enter the building and slowly check the rooms as they make their way up. As they reach the third floor, Izuku checks around a corner and quickly sees Bakugo. Izuku then grabs Uraraka and leapt out of the way of Bakugo's explosion. Bakugo pulls his hand away from the wall and looks at the hero team. Seems like you are still good at dodging, nerd, but how much better did you get at fighting? Better than you. Uraraka, remember the plan and go, Izuku. Okay, thanks for the dodge by the way. Uraraka then gets up and runs off, leaving the two alone to fight. Now since we are here at Ua, I can finally kick you without getting into trouble, Bakugo. As if you can. Izuku readies all three of his swords and gets into a defensive stance. Bakugo snarls angrily and goes for a right hook, but Izuku catches it and shoulder throws Bakugo to the ground. Bakugo coughs and quickly gets back up and uses an explosion to propel himself towards Izuku. Bakugo readies a left jab this time, and once again Izuku dodges. Izuku tries to counterattack by slashing at Bakugo's legs with one of his swords, but Bakugo jumps and kicks Izuku. Using his swords, Izuku was able to block the kick and push Bakugo back. All Might and the rest of Class 1 were watching the whole fight in an observation room. Come on, Bakugo, a sneak attack isn't manly, Kirishima. It is a smart strategy for a villain or hero to use. Remember, class, that in a real fight these kinds of attacks should be used when possible. All Might. But look at Midoriya. He is really good at dodging and used that cool shoulder throw, Mina. Hey, it looks like they are going to clash again. Sato. Izuku and Bakugo have been fighting and have moved to an end of a hallway with a window. Bakugo and Izuku have only done a few scratches on each other so far and are no worse for wear. They start to fight again, and it goes back to them trying to hurt the other, but the other dodges the attacks. Meanwhile, Uraraka has found the room with Ida and the bomb on the 4th floor. Deku, I found Ida and the bomb in a room at the end of the west hallway on the 4th floor. Great, stay put and I will try to make it up there. Izuku? Ida, on the other hand, starts to speak aloud. If I am going to play the part of the villain, I might as well act like one to get into the mindscape of a villain. Muhahaha. Uraraka laughs at this while trying to cover her mouth. He is so serious. Ida turns and hears the laughter. Well, hello there. I've been expecting you, hero. Uraraka stops laughing as her eyes go wide. Uh-oh. Deku, I've been found out by Ida. Just try to hold him off. If you can catch him off guard, you can get to the bomb, and we win. Whoa. Izuku dodges another explosion from Bakugo. Ida spreads his arms open. Welcome, Uraraka. Because of the quirk assessment test, I have taken the liberty to remove every object from the room. Now there is nothing you can use your quirk on. Uraraka gulps as she gets ready to fight. She knows she can't win a head-on battle with Ida, so she decides to take her teammates' advice. She charges in, getting ready to touch Ida with her hands as he gets ready to dodge. Once she is about 3 feet away from Ida, she instead brings her fingers together to remove her gravity. What? You can make yourself weightless? Ida tries to tackle her, but she instead goes over him towards the bomb. Yes, we're gonna win. Ida quickly turns away and runs to the bomb, grabs it, and moves it away from Uraraka in a few seconds. Nice try, hero, but I'm too fast for you. Uraraka stops herself from crashing into the wall and faces Ida again. Man, I hope Deku is doing better than me. Meanwhile, Izuku had to be careful when talking to Uraraka, otherwise Bakugo would hear their plans. Bakugo stands up straight and smiles. Hey nerd, I got something for you. Bakugo launches himself into the air ready to attack Izuku. Izuku gets ready to attack, but Bakugo uses an explosion to blind Izuku and create a smoke screen. Damn it, why is it always the goddamn eyes? Izuku yells, eyes closed. Bakugo used the smoke screen explosion to flip over Izuku and lets off a big explosion to his back. Damn it, just because I trained not to use my eyes in a fight doesn't mean it still doesn't hurt if they take an explosion point blank. Izuku thinks while on the ground. He doesn't look like it, but Bakugo must be very smart. Shoto. Huh? What do you mean, Zoro? Bakugo used the smoke screen to quickly get the upper hand to attack Midoriya. In order to do that, he needs to calculate when to time his smoke screen and know how much power to use to flip over Midoriya. All of that requires great knowledge about physics and his quirk. Momo. Oh man, Bakugo is too strong. Kaminari. After the explosion to Izuku's back, Bakugo grabs Izuku by his arm. He then uses small explosions to propel himself to toss Izuku with great force. Here is that shoulder throw you like to use so much. Izuku smacks against the ground and gasps in pain. As Izuku slowly gets up, Bakugo's gauntlet clicks and goes red for a second. Awesome, I'm full. Because you are such a nerd, you know how my quirk works. My sweat can create explosions that I choose when to set off with my sweat. But I have a limit to how big an explosion I can make. Well, I made my costume design to have these gauntlets to hold my sweat so that way I can release bigger explosions. Also, since class yesterday, I know that the support company added them, and they work. Bakugo then gets ready to pull the pin on his gauntlet. Wait, stand down, young Bakugo. An explosion that big could kill him, All Might yells through the intercom. He will be fine if he dodges, Bakugo yells as he pulls the pin. Izuku quickly gets his swords ready and starts to spin. All right, no more holding back, Izuku. Boom. What was that, Ida? What happened, Uraraka? The hall is engulfed in flames and the hallway suffers heavy damage. The hallway is now slightly destroyed, filled with smoke, covered in soot, and the window broken. All Might gets on the intercom again. Young Bakugo, if you let off another explosion that big, you will be disqualified. What, Bakugo? To let off a big explosion and damage the building you are supposed to be protecting is a foolish move. You could have set off the bomb or hurt your teammate. Even if you are on the villain team, to do such a thing is a dumb move and would usually cause you to lose, so do that again and I'll disqualify you, All Might. TCH fine then. Now where is Bakugo? As the smoke clears, everyone can see a hole cut through the ground where Izuku was. Huh? Did he go below to dodge, Bakugo? Then everyone hears something echo from the floor below. Full cowl dragon twister. Izuku cuts another hole below Bakugo and causes him to fall down to the second floor. Izuku then jumps up back on the third floor and touches his earpiece. Uraraka, you said West End hallway 4th floor, right? Huh. Oh yeah, Uraraka. Izuku then smiles as he stands at the end of the hallway. Okay, get ready, Uraraka. Izuku turns on full cowl again and readies his swords. One more time, full cowl. Dragon twister. The roof above him / the floor of the bomb room has a hole cut through and Izuku jumps through it. Ida and Uraraka are surprised at this and Bakugo jumps back onto the third floor. Four Eyes stop him. Ida tries to kick Izuku, but he just grabs his foot. Izuku readies his right sword and looks Ida in the eye. Oh no, Ida. Uraraka the bomb, Izuku yells to Ochako as he turns down full cowl to 5%. No, stop, Ida yells and Uraraka runs towards the bomb. Bakugo explodes through the hole and lands behind Ida. Not today, Deku, Izuku smiles and chuckles. Full cowling onigiri smash. Izuku's right sword slashes Ida and launches him into Bakugo and flings them both right in the wall. As they both slump down unconscious, Uraraka jumps and grabs hold of the bomb. We did it! Everyone is stunned silent at this major turnover. All Might's smile gets bigger and raises his hands. The hero team wins. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey through What If Deku Mastered 3-Sword Style Like Zoro? I hope you found it as intriguing and thought-provoking as we did. A big shout out to GhostKnightTwilight for crafting such a compelling story. Don't forget to check out their profile on Archive of Our Own for more amazing works. The link is in the description below. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to What If Deku 2.0 for more fascinating explorations into the world of fanfiction and fantasy. Your support helps us create more content like this, and we're always excited to hear your thoughts and suggestions in the comments section. See you guys in the next video.